Hello friends, welcome to yet another episode from Kingdom of Wonders, Cambodia. I hope you are all enjoying the travel videos on my channel. Those of you who have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so and share with your friends who enjoys traveling to historical destinations. Right now I am with my friend SB on his remote, and today I am doing the grand circuit of the Angkor Archaeological Park. On this circuit I will cover Preah Khan, Neak Pean, East Mebon, Preah Tas Som and finally Banteay Kdei. Angkor is as much about water as it is about stones. To cite those, an enormous system of artificial canals, dikes and reservoirs. These massive works skillfully harvest river and rainwater to quench the thirst of the some 750,000 residents in the world's largest pre-industrialized city. As usual, Preah Khan is oriented towards the east, so this was the main entrance, but there are others at each of the cardinal points. Each entrance has a causeway over the moat with Naga carrying Devas and Asuras, similar to those at Angkor Thom. The outer wall of Preah Khan is of laterite and bears 72 Garudas holding Nagas at 50-meter intervals. Surrounded by a moat, it measures 800 by 700 meters and encloses an area of 56 hectares. Preah Khan, meaning royal sword, is built in the 12th century by King Jayavarman VII to honor his father. The temple is flat in design and with a basic plan of successive rectangular galleries around a Buddhist sanctuary, complicated by Hindu satellite temples and numerous later additions. The temple's foundation stela has provided considerable information about the history and administration of the site. The main image of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara in the form of the king's father was dedicated in 1191. The institution combined the roles of city, temple and Buddhist university. There were 97,840 attendants and servants, including 1,000 dancers and 1,000 teachers. Preah Khan has a stunning and majestic hall of dancers. This is within the third enclosure and located just beyond the Gopura of East entrance. Just above the entrance doors are beautifully and meticulously carved devatas. The temple complex includes entryways, towers, ceremonial spaces, courtyards, shrines and a variety of connecting corridors. Additional special features of Preah Khan include its two-storied pavilion, the once bronze-plated Sanctum Sanctorium, and its hall of dancers. Halfway along the path leading to the third enclosure, on the northern side is a house of fire or Dharmasala, similar to Taprom's. Preah Khan is encompassed of complex structure, enclosing within itself 4 distinct enclosures with well-thought pathways. The remainder of the 4th enclosure, now forested, was originally occupied by the city. As this was built of perishable materials, it has not survived. The third enclosure wall is 200 by 175 meters. In front of the third Gopura is a cruciform terrace. The Gopura itself is on a large scale with 3 towers in the center and 2 flanking pavilions. Between the southern 2 towers were 2 celebrated silk cotton trees resting on the vault of the gallery. Frame its openings and brace the stones in substitute for pillars in a caprice of nature that is as fantastic as it is perilous. I am now walking towards Neak Pean on a path laid with wooden planks over the marshy land. Neak Pean, that means entwined serpents, is an artificial island with a Buddhist temple on a circular island in Jayatataka, Barai, which was associated with Preah Khan temple, built during the reign of King Jayavarman VII. Some historians believe that Neak Pean represents Anavatapta, a mystical lake in the Himalayas whose waters are believed to cure all illness. The name is derived from the sculptures of snakes running around the base of the temple structure, Neak being the Khmer rendering of the Sanskrit Naga. They are Nanta and Ubananta, two Nagas traditionally associated with the lake Anavadapta. Neak Pond was originally designed for medical purposes. The ancients believed that going into these pools would balance the elements in the Betha, thus curing disease. It is one of the many hospitals that Jayavarman VII built. It is based on the ancient Hindu belief of balance. 4 connected pools represent water, earth, fire and wind. Each is connected to the central water source, the main tank, by a stone conduit presided over by one of the 4 great animals or Maha Anjaneya Pasu, namely elephant, bull, horse and lion, corresponding to the north, east, south and west quarters. Originally, 4 sculptures stood on the floor of the lake. The only remaining statue is that of the horse Balaha, a form of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. The East Mebon is a 10th century temple built during the reign of King Rajendra Varman. It stands on what was an artificial island at the center of now dry East Barai Reservoir. The temple was dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva and honors the parents of the king. Built in the general style of Preah temple nearby, the East Mebon was dedicated in 953 AD. It has 2 enclosing walls and 3 tiers. The sculpture at East Mebon is varied and exceptional, including 2-meter high freestanding stone elephants at corners of the first and second tiers. There are religious scenes include the god Indra atop his 3-headed elephant Airawata and Shiva on his mount, the sacred bull Nandi. Carving on lintels is particularly elegant. At the top is a central tower on a square platform, surrounded by 4 smaller towers at the platform's corners. The towers are of brick, holes that formerly anchored stucco are visible. The temple's location reflects Khmer architects concerned with orientation and cardinal directions. The temple was built on a north-south axis with Rajendra Varman's state temple, Preah, located about 1200 meters to the south, just outside the Barai. Visitors looking out from the upper level today are left to imagine the vast expanses of water that formerly surrounded the temple. 4 landing stages at the base give reminder that the temple was once reached by boat. Today, the Barai, once a source of water for irrigation, is a plain of rice fields, and the visitor is left to imagine the original majesty of this temple in the middle of a large lake. The interior of this wall is marked by a footpath. The neat enclosing wall is intercepted in the middle of each of its 4 sides by an entry tower in the shape of a cross. The towers are constructed of laterite and sandstone and have 3 doors with porches. The outer enclosing wall is identified by a terraced landing built of laterite with 2 seated lions on each of the 4 sides. The 5 towers on the upper terrace were built of brick and open to the east. They have 3 false doors made of sandstone. Indra on his mount, a 3-headed elephant, Airawata, with small horsemen on a branch. This is Preah, a Hindu temple built as the state temple of Khmer King Rajendra Varman and dedicated in 961 or early 960. It is a temple mountain of combined brick, laterite and sandstone construction. The temple's name is comparatively modern one, meaning turn the body. This reflects the common belief amongst Cambodians that funerals were conducted at the temple, with the ashes of the body being ritually rotated in different directions as the service progressed. Located just south of East Barai or Eastern Reservoir, Preah is aligned on a north-south axis with the East Mebon temple, which is located on what was an artificial island in the Barai. Preah's extensive laterite and brick give it a pleasing reddish tone that is heightened by early morning and late afternoon sunlight. The temple has a square layout and two perimeter walls. The outer enclosure is a platform bounded by a laterite wall 117 meters north-south by 127 meters east-west. This is Ta Som and we are entering from the west. Designed to be entered from the east, Ta Som is surrounded by a moat and enclosed by three laterite walls, which are broken by two sets of gopura. Ta Som is a small temple built at the end of the 12th century for King Jayavarman VII. The king dedicated the temple to his father Dharanendravarman II, who was the king of the Khmer Empire from 1150 to 1160. This is the West Gopura. The temple consists of single shrine located on one level and surrounded by enclosure laterite walls. The inner section of the temple consists of a central cruciform sanctuary with porches at each arm, surrounded by four corner pavilions. The main structure of Gopura are carved with four faces in the Bayon style. The site is relatively small compared with many other temples built under Jayavarman's reign. The Gopuras are cross-shaped and contain a small room on each side having windows with balusters. Gate or the gallery surrounded by two guards. Though it is widely believed that it is dedicated to Jayavarman VII's father, although some have speculated that it may have been dedicated to one of his teachers. Like the nearby Preah Khan and Thaprom, the temple was left largely unrestored, with numerous trees and other vegetation growing among the ruins. Two small libraries sit on either side of the eastern entrance path. This eastern outer Gopura has been overgrown by a sacred fig, which has grown down through the blocks that make up the Gopura and into the ground. Each temple at Angkor has a different character, and Ta Som's smaller scale and beautiful sculpture ensures that visitors who seek it out will be treated to another piece of Angkor's history and artistic treasures. With its tower structure enveloped by a large ficus tree at the East Gopura 3, it's easy to understand how nature and buildings can be hard to separate throughout Angkor Archaeological Park. This is one small temple many ordinary travelers miss out. Today, Ta Som is one of the many temples that can be visited at Angkor. Both outer entrance Gopuras of Ta Som are good examples of well-preserved towers depicting Avalokiteshvara. Finally, I have reached Banteay Kdei. The entry is from the east-facing Gopura, which is in cruciform. At the four corners, the Gopuras have a fascia of Lokeshvara mounted over Garuda images. The external enclosure has four Gopuras similar to Thaprom temple. The temple is a treasure house of sculptures in the architectural style of Bayon and also of the Angkor Wat. The complex is on a single level. Banteay Kdei, meaning a citadel of chambers, also known as citadel of monk cells. This Buddhist sacred temple complex is cloistered and packed in a space of 65 meters into 50 meters, with 3 enclosures with a large compound wall of 700 meters into 300 meters made of laterite stones. Built in the mid-12th to early 13th centuries AD, during the reign of Jayavarman VII, who was posthumously given the title Mahaparamasanghadapada. This Buddhist monastic complex is currently dilapidated due to faulty construction and poor quality of sandstone. The Buddha image at the entrance to the moat, near the second interior gate, is well preserved, considering the fact that most of the other statues have been destroyed or stolen. The walls built in sandstone and laterite have collapsed at several locations of the gallery. The niche here has small figurines and large Apsara Devatas in single poses or in pairs of dancing poses. The inner enclosure of the main temple is built on a 36 meters into 30 meter layout plan. This enclosure has 4 corner towers abutted by small gopuras. Galleries running along an axis link these towers to the main sanctuary. The towers at the northeast and southeast are linked with the second gallery, where a Buddha statue in a sitting posture is seen. A paved access from here leads to the main shrine, which comprises of 2 galleried enclosures. At the entrance to these enclosures, from the eastern end, is the Hall of Dancers, which has 4 open courtyards, and the pillars are fine carvings of Apsaras. In stark contrast to the often overwhelmingly crowded and popular Angkorian ruins, Banteay Kdei is peaceful and quiet. Serving as a Buddhist temple, these ruins have been home to an active monastery at multiple time periods since their construction in the 12th century up until 1960s. Today, the ruins are overgrown and seemingly forgotten by the bustling Angkor tourism industry. Its solitude and mystery make it a hidden gem for explorers of the region. Tall trees cast shade over Buddhist bas-reliefs, and many hours can be spent in its meandering design. With great sense of satisfaction, I am bowing out of this vihara.